Edison invented the light bulb so you wouldn't have to burn the midnight candle. Our employees are getting really burnt out with our face-to-screen time, whether that's meetings, webinars, even just social gatherings. This week, we're going to learn the 3 tips on how to not get burnt out by the man who led one of the most innovative teams, Mr. Thomas Edison. Number 1, keep passing notes to each other. Edison's team, the muckers, were under a lot of pressure. So, to increase their efficiency, he had them work around the clock, literally. You see, his scientists needed the parts that his machinists were making. So, he would have his scientists show up to work in the evening, just as his machinists were wrapping up their day, so that they didn't have to wait till the next day to start using those parts. And after the scientists worked hard all night, in the wee hours of the morning, they would leave a pile of notes on the desks of their machinists, asking for new parts and modifications they needed for the next night, thus inventing the most efficient cycle of work communication. Every great product requires hours of fine-tuning and testing between cross-functional teams. Most often, teams are dropping the ball in the small deliverables people often owe each other, leading to constant pestering and slowed down progress. The best companies observe and analyze the lag time of information flowing between their teams. Because if you shorten the lag time, you increase the team output. Create the small things checklist. At every meeting, have someone note down the small and big asks, who it's from, who it's for, when they need it by, and how urgent it is. And follow these 3 quick rules to implement it. Number 1, encourage everyone on your team to bring up that checklist in any meeting at least once a day. Number 2, read out the deliverables due only if the people present in that meeting owe something. Cross it out when they say it's done. Number 3, keep these announcements under a minute. A quick daily public reminder is an easy habit for all to follow. You can also use automatic reminders like Slack to help with the process. Remember, success in communication is in the discipline of the follow-ups. Number 2, the Goldilocks Call. To invent the incandescent light bulb, one also needs to invent the entire electrical system behind it. So, to make sure that all the testing and complex orchestration went off without a hitch, Edison had all his inventors, scientists, and machinists sit really close to each other. The muckers, as they were called, would work together in single long benches facing each other, because he realized that the key was to have them do quick check-ins. The wiring guy could easily ask a question of the generator guy, while the chemist could validate temperature readings from the fuse guy, all from where they sat. Quick check-ins for cross-functional teams is the lubricant for your organizational gears of efficiency. When we're remote, we can't just drop by our coworker's desk and chat, so we either send him a message or set up a meeting. But for certain types of check-ins, messaging doesn't get you the depth you need, and scheduled video meetings are overkill. So you need to find a happy medium. One company has got a solution. They call it the 3-minute video check-in.
At Sketchfab, the tech team has the habit of jumping on a quick 3-minute video chat whenever they have an issue which is not easy to type, goal being to hash out the matter and jump off real quick. If the issue seems to actually need more than a couple minutes, they'll consider setting up a proper meeting, but most of the time it proves to be efficient while also respecting other people's time.
This 3-minute video check-in is a rule of thumb. That's a great forcing mechanism for prioritizing conversations and lowering your screen time. So the next time you have a question or a quick ask, see if you can fit it into a 3-minute video check-in. The Goldilocks of remote communication. Number 3, laugh through your communication problems. Edison was a relentless taskmaster. He had to. They were running out of time and money. He would have the muckers work non-stop for days on end, pushing the team constantly to their breaking point. But they didn't crack, because no matter how busy they got, Edison would always make time for late night breaks. They would order food, smoke cigars, and sing songs together with an old pipe organ he kept in the office. That's right, Edison invented startup culture. He also loved to laugh, and he did that by constantly encouraging everyone to play practical jokes on each other. This one time, he put a live wire in the men's washroom, so every time they would wash their hands, they'd get zapped. They didn't have HR. So many of us roll our eyes when we hear about team building, but Edison had a very calculated purpose to all of this. He knew that for high-performance team, playfulness literally adds hours to your workday. By lifting his team spirits, boosting their camaraderie, and refreshing their minds, Edison's team was once again ready to work all day and all night. Try this. Schedule an hour of fun and games every 2 weeks with your team. Leave it in the calendar and rotate who should be in charge of the agenda. Second, every day, try to infuse your team with some level of playfulness, whether that's a meme in your Slack channel or sharing a funny story before starting a meeting. Just keep it appropriate. Laughter is platform agnostic, and it cuts through any medium you're communicating on. So be serious about making sure your team is having fun. Video conferencing burnout is a reality for a lot of us, but the key is to figure out small communication and culture hacks to circumvent it. By focusing on these, you too can light up your team to change the world like Thomas Edison. I'm Nikhil Paul, and this is We Are Human. To learn more about how to make remote work less stressful, do reach out, and I'd be happy to share all my insights.